What's going down, D-Gens? Back again with another video with more picks because I love you and I want you to win money and I want good things for you in life. You know, even though we may go through divorces and stuff, we're going to get through it. We're going to get together. We're going to, D-Gen together and have a great time, right? So let's get right into the picks. Actually, let's not get right into the picks. I've not taken time to recap last week. I don't really feel the need to kind of be on my own junk here. So we'll go real quick through the ones that we got right, a little bit of reasoning why, and then we'll go through the ones that we got wrong, why on those as well for sure. And then we'll go into this week's picks. Like I said, week one, I can almost guarantee you is going to be the most volume we ever put out this season at least, other than maybe Super Bowl or possibly Thanksgiving or something. For the most part, though, we're not going to have 9 plays in a week. So let's get into it. The ones we got right, Ravens minus 9.5. That one was versus the Texans. Again, that was just a straight up, hey, this is a rookie quarterback, first time getting a real start with a first time head coach. Worked out pretty well. It's actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. And it didn't look great the entire time. It really wasn't until like the end of the third quarter that we started finally getting kind of comfortable with that one. As far as the negative side of that, the Texans defense did a pretty good job. The Ravens offense was sloppy. And a lot of that I truly attribute to them not really trying as hard as they typically do in the preseason. They didn't give Lamar any time in the preseason, and I think that really, truly hurt him because he's with a new coordinator. On top of that, Mark Andrews was out, so just a lot of kind of things that came together, kind of coalesced at the wrong times for the Ravens. But, again, we knew that there was a rookie quarterback on the other side. Ravens pulled it out. They got the cover. Zay Flowers looked amazing as we expected. That's good. I think we're on the right side on that one. It was maybe just a little bit tighter than we thought because of kind of the circumstances leading up to that game with the Ravens. But they should get only better from here, especially with Andrews coming back. Falcons minus 3. Falcons minus 3. Obviously, we get that one. We'll get the cover. That one, again, didn't really feel very great until the second half. And I think you're going to see that trend a lot with the first week. And you may want to expect that moving forward, kind of jot that note down mentally, because a lot of these teams started off really, really slow in the first half. I would say the majority of the teams started off very, very slow in the first half. The Falcons, I believe it was either tied or it was like 10-7, 10-3, something like that, going into the half. It wasn't until that second half where they finally started busting some plays, getting some interceptions, things like that. They really turned this around and kind of got us to come to more comfortable cover. Again, right side on that one, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints other than it took a little bit longer than I think it should have. And they gave the Panthers, I think, a little too many opportunities there that made this feel more uncomfortable than it needed to be. But again, the Falcons, we know what they are. We know that they're a run-first team. So if we're going to continue betting on them, that's something you're going to have to at least somewhat be accustomed to, is that they probably are going to win. They're probably going to win by margin. It's just not going to always feel great. It's just not one of these teams that you can expect to come out, blow somebody out by the second quarter, and then just kind of hang out with the lead and feel like a comfortable cover for you. Understand and realize that a lot of these Falcons games are going to be slow paced. There's going to be a lot of running. They very, very seldomly pass. And especially if they're being asked to win by more than 3, probably wait until the third or fourth quarter before you start getting a little panicky with, maybe live betting or anything like that. So that's that one. Jaguars minus 3.5. Now this one, we get the cover. They win by 10. On one hand, it felt kind of fluky because they were down by 4 going into like the last 5 minutes of the game. They get a touchdown. They go up by 3, which I was fully prepared to lose that damn game. I really expected us to lose that and for them to just kind of go out and milk the clock and be done with it. We got lucky in that the Colts and Richardson threw an interception with literally like 4 minutes left or 5 minutes left on the clock, and it just happened at the exact right time because they take that one. A couple plays later, Travis Etienne busts a big play for another touchdown. They go up by 10. The Colts are not able to answer, but the scary part is the Colts really, really tried to get back in that end zone. They marched down the field really quickly, like within 2 minutes. So about 2 minutes or so left on the clock. They're already in the red zone. They get to like 4th and 1. I'm thinking they're going to kick the field goal. Right in my head, I'm hoping, hey, okay, Colts kick the field goal. We're up by 7. We get the cover. They get, the onside kick. Either they recover it or maybe they get one last shot at trying to get back the touchdown. And worst case scenario, we're in overtime. But no, that's not what they wanted to do. They had intentions on fucking us over. It's trying to get that touchdown, trying to be down by just 3. And so they go for the 4th and 1. They get it. I'm shitting bricks. They're on the 10. They keep going for it. They get to another 4th and 1. They go for it again, basically on the goal line. And just by fucking luck and by talent, I guess, on the Jaguars side of it, they keep them out of the end zone on basically the damn goal line itself. And that's how that game ends. So I think if I was in that coaching spot, and a kind of a note to take from the Colts is that the coaching time perspective is not always the best. I think a more experienced coach goes for the field goal early on maybe that 4th and 1 attempt because, one, there is still like 2 minutes left or so, still kind of time to work with. And number 2, either way, they were going to need a fucking field goal. So you might as well get the field goal. You already tried your 3 shots. You didn't get the first down. Take the 3 points. You're still going to get the onside kick. Either way, you needed a field goal, and either way, you were going to need to recover the onside kick. You might as well do it with about 2 minutes left, because even had they scored that last touchdown and they had tried to do an onside kick, they were going to be working with under 40 seconds left on that clock. Like, what the hell were you expecting from that? I think that the odds of you tying that game much less likely to try to get in field goal position, working with, I believe, 1, if any, timeouts left on a team that really had not had a lot of burst the entire game. Just not a good fit for them. But either way, the Jags get the cover. Kind of fluky. Kind of not fluky, though, because one of the touchdowns that the Colts got was off of a fumble recovery that was a fucking real fluky fumble. I don't know if you remember watching it. If you did watch the game, basically it looked like they had passed the ball forward, Trevor Lawrence it is, and that the ball just came out, but they didn't rule it incomplete pass, and we blew the whistle. Well, Jaguars play actually picked up the ball, was just kind of standing there because he thought the play was over. The Colts then bat the ball out of his hand and continue going in, and they get the fumble 6, which, again, just kind of a real fluky situation that you're probably not going to ever see again. But either way, that's one of their touchdowns. The other touchdown that the Colts had, or one of the other ones, was just a bubble screen to Michael Pittman that it happened at the right time. The defense had the wrong coverage, and he broke it for a touchdown. I don't think that's very repeatable. Of the 3 scores that the Colts had, I think one of them was truly offensively driven and something that I think we can kind of expect to see again from them. Other than that, I wasn't super impressed, other than Richardson can run, and he's as expected. So Jaguars, you can take that as luck or take it as, hey, look, we should have won by more. Either way, they get the cover. Bengals under 48, never in question. I remember telling a few of you, Bengals always start slow. We thought maybe it was because of injuries, because Burrow always seems to be coming off an injury after the offseason. Maybe that was it. A lot of it, I think, is preseason, them just not really getting up to speed in the preseason. And it was a divisional game, and I've expressed before, these first-time divisional games tend to stay pretty low scoring. Bengals under 48 came through, no sweat there. Raiders under 44.5. Again, another divisional game, another week 1 game, another slow expectations game in Denver, in altitude. We thought the players were going to get tired. It's exactly what happened. I did have somebody mention to me they thought it would go over because of the Raiders scoring, and I agreed. The only way that game was going over was if the Raiders got hot and put up a bunch of points on the board. They didn't, and I just, to put the expectation out there, not that the Raiders won't ever score a lot of points, but the Raiders are the type of team that once they get a lead, especially in the fourth quarter, they're going to try to sit on it. They're not going to put up 45, 50 points in a game where they don't have to. They're not a blowout kind of team. So a lot of these games I would kind of lean under immediately with the Raiders. The Cowboys under 47, kind of fluky, kind of not. The Giants put up 0 points in that game. The 40 points from the Cowboys, you can say it was maybe a little odd. Like, you can't count on those things to happen, like a block field goal for a touchdown or a weird pick/fumble 6 from Saquon like there was in the first quarter. All of these things, I mean, they just really can't expect them to happen, but they do. But either way, that defense from the Cowboys is just so damn good that it was going to stay under either way. And again, this is another divisional game, so kind of keep those in mind. Those are the ones that we won. The ones that we lost, Steelers +3. On paper, it looks gross. It was 30-7. It was a really lopsided, one-sided game. Not even close. Not to make any excuses, and obviously it's the wrong side. It was just the wrong play. We lost that one. It happens. But if you are looking into the Steelers for other plays moving forward or fantasy or props or anything like that, if you haven't watched that game, because everybody's jumping on the Steelers saying they suck and they're preseason champs and all that kind of shit, let me just tell you, it's not as bad as it seems on paper. They got in a really bad situation really quickly. They threw a bad Kenny Pickett threw an interception early in the game, set them up bad. They got a field goal off of that. And before the end of the first quarter, or pretty shortly thereafter, it was like 10-0. Then they give up another touchdown from the 49ers, and I believe that one was off of Christian McCaffrey's long run, if I'm not mistaken. No, I apologize. It was a Brandon Ayuk catch in the corner of the end zone, which, great defense. And that is one note that no one's really talking about. The Steelers, yes, they give up 30 points. In that first half, the Steelers' defense was pretty damn good. They had not really given up a whole lot. Christian McCaffrey had not really gotten going. And that whole day, Christian McCaffrey's numbers looked good. He had one really big run, and that's awesome. Hats off to Christian McCaffrey. He's McCaffrey for a reason. But that first half, the Steelers looked pretty decent on defense. I really wasn't disappointed with that part of it. Even the Brandon Ayuk, the second touchdown he got, was just an amazing catch from Ayuk. That's not a knock on the Steelers at all. The 49ers they are that team. They are that guy. They're good. I thought Brock Purdy was not going to be as great against, good defenses. Didn't matter. Shanahan's coaching style was able to overcome that and get the guys in the right spots. And the Steelers play a lot of zone defense. If you go back and watch that game, almost the entire game is zone defense. Brandon Ayuk constantly finds the seams in zone defense. So let's make a mental note of that. Anytime he's going to go up against a team who's playing almost exclusively zone defense, just know Brandon Ayuk is going to find the weaknesses in that, and Brock Purdy's going to find him for those seams. So, that was a loss. Giants +3.5. We just went over that with the Cowboys. Cowboys defense was so good. It was better than I expected. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I have not ever once really had high expectations for this offseason, at least, or for this season, until watching that game. And again, not to say that it's like Super Bowl or anything like that, but the defense is so good. They're going to immediately be a top elite in the NFC. Top 4 teams at least in the NFC, because that defense is so good and because there's not a whole lot of strong offenses in the NFC as it is. But they keep the Giants to 0 points. So obviously that was the wrong side on that one. Packers under 44.5. I underestimated how terrible the Bears defense was going to be. The Bears played pretty much like I thought they were going to play. I did expect them to run more, and I was kind of surprised that they got away from that running game as quickly as they did. They didn't have nearly as many carries as I thought they were going to. They kept rotating guys in and out of there. Roschon Johnson, his numbers look okay. If you go back and watch that game, his production is pretty much exclusively in garbage time. It is really a 1-2 punch there with Herbert and Foreman. So Herbert, I think, is still going to be fine. The Bears' defense is terrible. The Bears' offensive line is bad as we expected. It's gotten maybe marginally better from last year. Packers look okay. They look good. I think that this game made them look better than they really are. So I would not just go all gung-ho on how good the Packers are just yet. A lot of easy passes for Jordan Love. A lot of real short passes that just went further than they needed to because of blown coverages or because of yards after the catch. So not too much to take away on that side either. But those are the 3 we got wrong. Again, we ended up 6-3 for the week. As for this week, I'm going to go over some plays, and there's one I'm going to really dig into. The first one is Giants -4 versus Arizona. Now, I apologize because this line has moved. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Please follow me on Twitter at @AG_sports21. I'm not, fucking thirsty for followers over here, but it's because I put plays out, and as early as I can, as soon as I realize what I want to be on and where the stats and the trends are, kind of leading me, and it never fails that sooner rather than later, those lines move. And it's, I would love to sit here and tell you that, yeah, like it's me. I'm moving the line. I'm a fucking big shot. I'm that guy. No, it is not. I have no disillusions about that. It's not me whatsoever. I just happen to be, decent at my handicapping job. And a lot of guys that are smarter than me with bigger bankrolls than me happen to eventually agree with those, statements, and they put the money down that's much larger than I can and move those lines. But when they move, they get moved rather drastically. So the Giants have gone from -4 to -5.5 versus Arizona. The reason I was on that one, Arizona, and you can see it in that first game that they played against Washington, struggled to contain tight ends. Logan Thomas was burning their ass up. The backup for the Washington team was, beating the shit out of them. Brian, whatever the hell his name is, the damn running back from Washington, had a receiving touchdown. Did okay on the ground against them. So that they struggle against tight ends and against running backs, and then against mobile quarterbacks. Sam Howell even ran in for a touchdown. And guess what? All of those things are on the Giants, and they are 10 times better on the Giants. Darren Waller is going to be better than Logan Thomas. I don't think that's even a question. Saquon is better than Brian Robinson. That's obviously not a question. Daniel Jones is much better than Sam Howell. I don't want to say he's 10 times better, but he's definitely better. He's just as mobile. The Cardinals are going to struggle with this Giants offense. And on top of that, motivation-wise, we may be seeing a Giants team who's embarrassed and pissed off from last week against the Cowboys. I wouldn't be surprised if they, put up 40 points against this Cardinals team just to kind of let off some steam. So give me the Giants -4, Saints -3. The Panthers are going to be without J.C. Horn. The secondary, I thought, looked bad in week 1 in general with the Panthers. And that was going up against a Falcons team that doesn't really pass a whole lot. And they still gave up, 2 or 3 relatively decent size of long passes. Now they're going up against the Saints receiving team. Looks really, really good. Derek Carr looked really good in his first outing. A lot of deeper passes, deeper crossing routes. And now you're going to be without your top corner. Give me the Saints -3 to take advantage of that. Chargers-Titans over 45.5. Chargers-Titans, just matchup-wise, Chargers cannot stop the run. Titans want to run. Titans have a weak secondary. They cannot stop the pass. The Chargers want to pass. They have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams for a reason. Both these offenses should do great. Fantasy-wise, I would want to get all of these players in there, as many as you can. For that reason, give me the over 45.5. Lastly, the one I really want to get into is the Eagles. Eagles -7 is what I have, but I also put them in a couple different ways. I got Eagles -7 for the game, Eagles -4 for the first half, and then I put them in a teaser, Eagles -1 with Colts +7.5. That was earlier in the week. Those lines, unfortunately, are not going to be available right now. As far as the Colts side is concerned, it's still an official play, but I don't think you can find it at this point. Eagles -7, though. I did go back. I watched the Buccaneers-Vikings game. The Buccaneers really couldn't get anything going on the ground, and it had me concerned for a second because I thought, damn, I was sure the Vikings were going to be a terrible team at stopping the run, but how did they have success? Then I came back to the preseason unit rankings, and I realized that the Buccaneers, if you're looking at your screen right now, I'm going to kind of zoom in on it. The Buccaneers, where it says 29, that's their rank of offensive line. They're the 29th ranked offensive line. So the fact that the Vikings were able to somewhat stop that running attack is not a surprise. The offensive line sucks, for the Buccaneers, that is. And even still, they were not terrible against this Vikings team. They were consistently ripping off 4, 5, 6-yard chunk plays. I want to say around half of their plays ended up going for 4, 5, or 6 yards. And this was a bunch of people that are not super, super talented, like somebody like Rachaad White. Now you're going to go up against the Eagles team who wants to run the ball. You have a Jalen Hurts who can run the ball himself. And these guys are going to have a much better offensive line. As a matter of fact, the preseason unit rankings had Philly as the number 1 offensive line. Guys, Philly is going to run all over this Vikings defense. I don't think it's even a question mark. On the flip side of the ball, the Vikings offensive line is banged up. They're missing Bradbury, their center. They're missing another offensive lineman. You're going to go up against a badass Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, or front 7. I believe they are number 3 on the defensive line front. Guys, the Vikings offensive line and defensive line are set to be manhandled this week. Please mark it down. I'm going heavy on this game. Give me the Eagles -7. Eagles specifically -4 for the first half, because the Eagles tend to come out stronger in the first half and then kind of take their foot off the gas in the second half. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're up by 14.5 they win by like 10 for the full game. And then if you can get it into a teaser just to get the better side of another line. But those are the picks, guys. Good luck. Best of luck if you follow me. If you don't want to follow me, you disagree with me, go, step on a thumbtack, whatever the hell you got to do, get your mind right. But thanks again. Have a great time. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.